Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we do have snow and ice warnings in force as a bitterly cold air mass runs in from the north. We'll have a look at the various precipitation charts at the extremely snowy picture that's looking likely to set up over the course of the next week, with a lot of convection around later this week. And as we head into the weekend and early next week, we could start to see weather fronts bump into that cold air, and we could see major snow. So we'll have a look at that in the middle of the video, and then of course we'll have a look at the longer range, look at the GFS, GEM, ECMWF and the ensembles to see the longevity of this bitterly cold spell, with some of the models breaking it down in around a week's time, around the 12th, 13th of December, some other runs holding out all the way until the late teens of December, 17th, 18th of December perhaps. So we could be really going to quite a prolonged, maybe even historic cold spell here, with bitterly cold air over the top of us. Some areas might not get above freezing for about a week starting tomorrow. So we'll have a look at all of the details in today's video. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So if you start on the live radar, you can see we've got showers around at the moment. A lot of these falling as snow over Scotland, but they're only just getting going. Over the course of the next 24 hours, these are going to really start to ramp up in intensity and in size, and we wouldn't be surprised to see many areas have a covering of snow in Scotland. Maybe 2 to 5 centimetres quite widely, and maybe up to 5 to 10 centimetres over the higher ground. Across the northeast coast as well, we will see these showers turn to snow. Again, not expecting huge amounts, so the biggest issue with this will be ice. Where that precipitation falls, it will freeze, and we will see a lot of icy stretches, and we have a weather warning issued for that. Elsewhere, we will still see quite a few showers around, as we do have low pressure involved with the cold air, so we will likely continue to see those sea snow showers. But again, very difficult to pinpoint exact locations and intensities. We're not expecting anything major, at least for the next few days. There is the potential, though, as we'll see on the UKV, the ICON and the GFS precipitation charts, of an area of winteriness heading through North England, through the Midlands, maybe into Wales. Now, the eastwards and westward extent of this area of snow is still yet to be determined, and it's likely to be moving through during the day on Thursday, maybe in the morning further northwards you are, then through the afternoon and evening the further southwards before it does fizzle out into southern England. So we'll have to see what the precipitation charts are showing for that. We don't have warnings issued for that yet, but I do suspect maybe in the next 24 hours we will see some warnings. Now, if I do put on the temperatures, it is still quite a cold day, even though the cold air hasn't arrived. I'm recording this around 3 p.m, and you can see widely in the blues and the lighter blues in the north, indicating temperatures in the low single digits, if not towards freezing. But bitterly cold air is arriving, and all areas will be in these lighter blues, if not getting some purples and pinks, indicating temperatures getting towards the low, sort of very low, getting down to sort of minus 10 degrees potentially over the course of the next week. So bitterly cold conditions coming in. I must emphasise that it is cold at the moment, but it's going to be perhaps 5 degrees colder in the day than it is now, and maybe up to 10 degrees colder at night. If you do have a look at the weather warnings we do have on Wednesday, so tomorrow we have a snow and ice warning issued for Scotland. It has been upgraded from just a snow warning to snow and ice warning, and has been extended until midday on Thursday, and I'm expecting these warnings to continue to be extended out through the next week or so as we continue to bring in more certainty with the positioning of showers. So snow showers and icy surfaces may bring some travel disruption. 2 to 5 centimetres are possible at lower levels, with 5 to 10 centimetres above 200 metres, high likelihood lower end of the impact matrix. We do also have ice warnings for northeastern and eastern areas in general from 6 p.m. tomorrow until midday on Thursday. Frequent wintry showers running down the east coast are likely to fall on frozen surfaces and places, leading to the formation of icy patches. These showers are likely to fall as snow on higher ground, with the potential of a few centimetres on the North Yorkshire moors. Again, high likelihood lower end of the impact. Again, these showers could drift further inland than that, into the Midlands and generally northern England. But it's just across the far east coast where we've got a warning in force. And then into Thursday, we have a yellow ice warning for Northern Ireland and for Wales. Some disruption likely due to icy surfaces. Frequent wintry showers will spread into Northern Ireland through the early hours of Thursday, then onto Wales and parts of the West Midlands during the morning. These will fall on frozen ground in many areas, leading to formation of icy stretches on untreated surfaces. In addition, showers are likely to fall as snow on higher ground, perhaps more widely across Wales and the West Midlands during the day, with a slight accumulations possible in places, high likelihood lower end of the impact matrix. Again, these warnings will continue to be updated, so make sure you check out Met Office app and their website, as I'm sure there will be new warnings issued pretty much every day for the next week or so. Now, if you go to the UKV now and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, it's an extremely cold outlook. Temperatures widely will be at around freezing in the day and into around -5 to -10 at night. A lot of showers around, those falling as snow quite widely, and there is the potential into next week, which doesn't quite stretch into the UKV's time frame. There could be some more frequent and persistent snow quite widely as weather fronts trying to push in. So if you do run through this, you can see this afternoon a few showers across northern Scotland, but nothing too crazy. But overnight tonight, once that colder air properly starts to push in, those showers start to become more frequent and numerous and larger in size. By tomorrow afternoon, quite frequent heavy snow showers into northern Scotland. Elsewhere, those showers are cut off, but once that polar air arrives, these showers will all be turning to snow. So you can see through Wednesday evening, heavy snow starting to push in there, potentially across parts of Northern Ireland. A little feature, that area of snow pushing inland there, turning more widely into quite a large area of potentially wintry precipitation. Again, the eastward and westward extent of that is very uncertain, but more showers across the far northeast coast and into Scotland as well through the early hours of Friday and into Friday afternoon. Those showers continue into southern England as well. Again, we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with that, and elsewhere just a lot of frequent showers pushing in. As we head into Sunday, or late as I say to Sunday, again, more showers pushing in. I must emphasise though, over the course of the next 5 days, the big issue for most people will be ice, will be frosty conditions, and just will be the general freezing temperatures. Yes, there will be snow around. Will it be widespread snow? Probably not. There is potential for disruptive snow in places, but again, it's the usual Scotland, North Sea coast, potentially inland with that snow through Thursday. But widespread heavy snowfall is not coming in the next 5 days. It's as we head into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday next week, then the potential climbs with weather fronts pushing in, little low pressure systems that could spin up. So that is where we're keeping our eye on for significant widespread snowfall. I must emphasise that because there will be plenty of people expecting snow over the course of the next few days, and that is not expected widely. Yes, will you see some falling snow? There is quite a good chance. Will it be accumulating and significant? Probably not. Now, if you put on the dew points, you can see how it is freezing cold. -5 degree dew points in some areas, so everything falling as snow. The upper air temperatures, bitterly cold still by Sunday, down towards -7, -8 degrees. And if we put on those max temperatures, you can see this afternoon, widely 5 or 6 degrees. Cold, but nothing ridiculously cold compared to what's coming over the course of the next few days. Overnight tonight into Wednesday, widely temperatures down towards the low single digits and freezing in northern and western areas. And by Wednesday afternoon, those temperatures don't rise too much, maybe 3 or 4 degrees in the south, freezing in the north. And then Wednesday night is going to be it's going to be the first sort of widespread bitterly cold evening of this cold spell. Look at that, temperatures dropping down to -3, -4, maybe -5 degrees, or even lower than that locally. And for Thursday, temperatures will hardly rise above freezing in many areas, around 0 or 1 degree, maybe the isolated 2, but where we have some snow cover, some cloud around, it will keep those temperatures absolutely frigid. As we head through Thursday evening, those temperatures will drop widely again down into the -2, -3, -4. Again, will depend on cloud amounts. You can see through central areas there, more cloud with that potential snow system. Mean temperatures will only be around -1, -2 overnight, but elsewhere dropping down to -4, -5 again. And by Friday afternoon, look at that, widely freezing to 2 degrees, bitterly cold out there. Any snow cover, not getting a lot of melting at all. And by Friday evening, once again, temperatures dropping down to -4, maybe -7 degrees in some areas. And into Saturday again, temperatures hardly getting above freezing, and that continues into Sunday as well, where overnight temperatures widely again into the mid-single digits. So yeah, really, really cold conditions coming up the next 5 days. Now, if we do have a look at the icon chart now, have a look at the snowfall. This again, we just have a look at these just to compare what is going to be happening over the course of the next 5 days. And you can see We do have snow showers pushing in over the course of the next 24 hours, but it's really Thursday where we've got our eyes on. You can see snow across Scotland, that's expected, but it's this area of rain turning to snow inland through Northern Ireland and Scotland here. This pushes further inland and gives widespread snow, some heavy snow across northern England down into the Midlands before fizzling out into central southern England. Now this could give decent accumulations, maybe enough to actually cause a bit of disruption there for many central areas. So the icon run here showing quite a significant snow event for some, but you see the UKV pushes all that precipitation further westwards into parts of Wales and downgrades that intensity a little bit. As we head beyond that, still snow pushing in at times across coastal areas, but inland limited, and then as we head into Sunday, still quite limited inland as well, mainly for coastal areas. They will still push inland. I do expect them to still see some falling snow, but nothing significant. And if we put on those snow depth spikes, or the snow depth, you can see how maybe 5 to 10 centimetres falling across northern England into the Midlands there, and it hardly melts at all, as those temperatures are so cold. So could be seeing widespread snow cover there across northern England, maybe even pushing into southeast England, East Anglia and the London area as that area of precipitation moves through. Really need to keep an eye on that. If we have a look at the GFS, see what that is showing over the course of the next 5 days. Again, a lot of snow showers pushing in the moment. Again, this is low resolution, so it's going to show a lot more snow than there will be in reality in terms of the actual size of these showers. And as we head into Thursday, you can see that area of snow potentially that moves through on Thursday down in the Irish Sea, not really coming in anywhere near inland, so that completely moves the snow miles away, so nothing there from the GFS. Yeah, interesting seeing that, and again, there are showers packing in for coastal areas, but again, nothing too significant. As we head through Saturday, maybe more snow inland there in southern England, but it's as we head into Monday, you can see the wind direction starts to shift slightly, weather fronts approaching from the southwest, and there we could start to see significant snow pushing inland, and you can see right towards the extended range there at day 10, and you can see heavy snowfall inland, and that could cause real big issues. So that is the pattern perhaps for next week. Next week there could still be very cold conditions. It could start to turn slightly milder because of weather fronts approaching, but those are also likely to bring an increased risk of significant snow. So that's a bit of the payoff here. The next 5 days there will be snow around, there could be some snowfall, some accumulations, not expecting anything too significant, but it will be very cold. Next week it could start to turn slightly milder from the south and the west, but it will also introduce more moisture, and that could mean areas that stay in that colder air to the north, whether that's in Scotland, northern England, the Midlands, or even in this scenario, southern England stays in the cold air, we could see very significant snow as this does spread through and eventually clears out into the North Sea. Again, I don't want to take these too literally, but if we had a look at the snow depth spikes there, widely 10 to 20 centimetres, maybe as high as 30 or 40 centimetres in southern England. That would bury some areas, completely bury. So we've got to keep an eye on it. It's not a forecast. This is just the scenarios that there are at the moment, and there is the potential for these weather fronts to bump in. The models are keep changing exactly with the positioning of the weather fronts and the position of the low pressure systems and the overall breakdown. So it is something to keep an eye on, but definitely next week there looks like quite a high chance of seeing some messy snow events potentially in many areas as these weather fronts move in. If we do now go into the longer range, just generally have a look at the GFS, GEM, EastMBF and the Ensemble. As you can see on the GFS, we are poised to go into a bitterly cold northerly wind. The cold air spreads in over the course of the next day or so, and then we stay in a very unsettled flow. Again, you can see nothing too significant in terms of low pressure systems, and that's why snow will be mainly confined to coastal areas, perhaps inland at times, as we will see on Thursday. You can see, though, low pressure running in from the west, trying to pull in easterly winds there. That could turn more snow showers in the south and the east for a time, before eventually low pressure runs in from the Atlantic, does bring in milder air for a time, but turns us bitterly cold in the north and introduce moisture, and there we would see potentially snow on that dividing line where that -5 line is. And again, it all depends on the northern and southern extent of that. But the GFS keeps us today from the 6 o'clock run in bitterly cold air, all the way to 384 hours for the 22nd of December. So GFS today doing a 15-16 day cold spell, non-stop, under the -5 isotherm, bitterly cold. This would be sort of a December for the history books if this pattern did come off. But as we'll see from the ensemble members, there is huge uncertainty around the 13th, 14th of December, where we see huge divergence between the models. Some bringing in those low pressures off the Atlantic. Yes, maybe a temporary snow event, but bringing us a huge wedge of milder air. Others keeping us on the cold side, like the GFS today. I must say, the operational runs definitely on the colder side. It's the ensemble members that are bringing in the uncertainty. So could that just be something to do with the resolution of the ensemble members? We can't say for certain, but it is something we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on. But regardless of that, all of this stuff is in the 7 to 10 day time frame. It's still going to be very cold and potentially snowy in the next 7 days. If we do have a look at the GM, see how that does compare. Again, northerly winds coming in at the moment. It's bitterly cold air spreading in. Weather fronts approaching from the near Atlantic, trying to turn us extremely cold, extremely mild, but we stay extremely cold with a northerly wind. Bitterly cold air continues to spread in before the higher pressure block starts to topple at the 16th. This would probably turn us milder from around the 17th, 18th, but would also bring us snow as well. You can see briefly milder air pushes in there for a time, and along that dividing line through central southern England into the Midlands, that's where we could see significant snow at around sort of day 7 to day 10. If we have a look at the ECMWF as well, northerly wind pushing in, extremely cold conditions, then weather fronts try to nudge in off the Atlantic, and you can see pulling in a bitterly cold northerly wind, easterly wind ahead of that, and you can see the dividing line there across southern England, which produce huge amounts of snowfall. For which, if you zoom in for the United Kingdom, look here, you can see bitterly cold air across the Midlands, slightly milder air along the south coast, and you'd expect a huge band of precipitation along that boundary that would produce huge amounts of snowfall. So, got to keep an eye on that, of course. That would produce huge snow events in around a week's time, but again, very uncertain with the exact pattern. And all the way to day 10, we keep in a bitterly cold, blocked easterly pattern. This would be a scenario that keeps us very cold, probably almost until the Christmas period. And again, who knows what will happen then. This will break down at some point, whether it happens in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, we can't say for certain. But from the latest runs, we don't know exactly when it's going to break down. Some are continuing it for a very long period of time, and this, as I said, could be really quite a historic December if we see some of these charts coming off. If we do finish by having a look at the ensemble members, we start on the GFS 6 o'clock run. You can see how around the 14th of December, we see a big rise in some of the ensemble members. It's about a 50-50 split, half going very mild, half keeping us very cold, including the operational and the control run with increased precipitation, showing the chances of snow. You can see the London snow chance increase in around 5 days' time, so towards the weekend is the start of next week. That's when we could start to see maybe significant snow in the south. There is potential flurries and showers before that, which could give localised coverings and localised maybe significant snow in places, but for widespread sort of frontal persistent snow, really probably Sunday, Monday time. We're going to have to wait for anything like that. And again, in the longer range, it all depends on the air masses. Huge splits in the longer term, and we'll just have to see what it does show. Look at the 2 metre temperatures. You can see very cold all the way until at least next Tuesday, and then we've got huge divergence. The operation run, control run, keeping us around freezing. Other runs going to 10 degrees. And then if we have a look at the 2 metre dew points, you can see rising to just above freezing and around the 14th, 15th. Again, symbolic of a potential milder set coming in, but again, it's just because of a huge split. And if we have a look at new snow depth spikes, you can see they're starting to properly appear from around the 11th, 12th onwards, but again, no real consistency. Now, I do want to point out the midnight run from the GFS. You'll be able to see it keeps us very cold. Beyond that, many more are colder runs. So this just shows you the volatility between each individual ensemble run. So if you are out there and you're looking on Twitter and you're seeing individual operational runs or individual ensemble charts, do not take them too literally. Simply because you can see from the midnight run here, there's maybe 6 or 7 milder runs. You could call them all outliers. The majority keeping us very cold until around the 18th, 19th. But if you go to the 6 o'clock run, you'll be able to see many more are going milder with fewer going to around the 18th, 19th of December. Which scenario is correct, we don't know, but it is just sometimes a little bit misleading when the models are chopping and changing like they are at the moment. The only certainty we do have is it's going to be bitterly cold, very wintry as well in places, up until at least next Tuesday. What happens after that, we still are trying to decipher. If we do finish by having a look at the ECMWF ensembles from midnight, again, you see they have a similar dilemma. Around the 14th, 15th, a split with some ensemble members going mild, some going and remaining very cold. Again, remember, these are London ensemble member charts, so the further northwards you go, the less impact that milder sector in the south will have. But you can see a huge spread in the longer term, so it is still all up for grabs what's going to be happening in the second half of the month. And I just wanted to emphasise the fact that it is sort of a north-south split. But having a look at the Glasgow ensemble members, you can see how there is a lot more consistency with it keeping very cold until around the 18th, 19th or 20th. That's the first signs we get of real consistent rising ensemble members. So again, definitely sort of a north-south split potentially next week. But again, it's wherever the dividing line is between the cold and milder air, we'll see the heaviest snow. Whether that's in southern England, the Midlands, northern England, Scotland, we'll have to see. But for the time being, it's looking bitterly cold the next 7 days. The main issue will be ice and the freezing cold temperatures, so please do take care out there. There will be snow, there will be wintry hazards, and again, that is mainly in Scotland and over coastal areas, potentially coming inland at times with flurries, and then of course there's the potential for more significant snow on Thursday, but as you saw by the models earlier, there is still huge spread on that, and we'll probably have more concrete info on that tomorrow, so do keep up to date with that, and make sure you do check out the video that we'll be posting tomorrow afternoon on the potential for that system moving in. But as I said, very cold conditions coming. Make sure you take care of yourself, as this is something we don't see all too often. It could be the coldest December we've had for almost a decade, or a decade plus really, perhaps down to 2010 was the last time we saw something significantly cold, and a lot of people remember how bitterly cold that was. Don't think we'll get to that level of cold, but could get close. So please do take the necessary precautions out there and do stay safe. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.